to 101sports.com. Chad Range alongside Jesse Finney. This is the Hit Squad. And this segment brought to you by Metrogistics Vehicle Transportation Solutions Delivered. That's the company I work for. And I tell you what, if you're moving somewhere and you're thinking about, I'm going to drag my car behind the U-Haul, I tell you what, look us up online, www.metrogistics.com. A lot of times we can do it cheaper than hauling it behind you. I've moved all over the country. It's a pain getting your car in and on those things. I tell you what, I've been charging anywhere from $500 to $900 for those trailers. A lot of times we can get it done cheaper. So look us up on the web, metrogistics.com. Bill Billiter is the owner of our company, huge fight fan, and I believe he was there for the Uprising. He said it was a great night of fights for you guys with Shamrock MMA, pro MMA, been in the business for 15 years. It was the 15th anniversary, and it all happened at River City Casino. Some big names on that card.
It was an exciting night. I tell you what, it was extremely rewarding. It was our 15th anniversary with Shamrock Fighting Championships, professional mixed martial arts here in the city of St. Louis. And I tell you, River City Casino did a phenomenal job. It was a first-class show all the way around, sold out. And it's a 1,500-seat venue, and I got to tell you something. If you look at where that venue is, St. Louis needed a 1,500-seat venue to go watch concerts, to watch fights, and I got to tell you something, it did not disappoint. It was first class all the way around, and the fights were awesome. I mean,
fights were first class all the way around.
They really were.
Two guys,
exciting.
Yeah. I'm just gonna. My boss was there, as I say, William Billiter, and he's part of Cella Mania now. And that's kind of the Hulkamania and Cellamania has really taken off. Two guys who are jockeying for UFC contracts.
Right.
Adam Cella and Justin DeMoney. I tell you what, Cella came out and, I mean, there were a lot of eyes on this fight.
Right, there were a lot of eyes on the fight. There were a lot of eyes on the fight, and I tell you what, it did not disappoint because they came out right away, and Cella was probably losing in the exchanges. And at the same time, when I say losing exchanges, when they were throwing back and forth. But then they come back out, and then you've got Justin DeMoney who goes and puts Cella back on his butt, and Cella's losing the fight at that point. And they started exchanging, and two shots, and man, left hook, and finally just knocked him out. And DeMoney said to us on air the week before, he said, "Listen, tell him to bring his sleeping pill.
He doesn't need to bring his. Yeah,
he doesn't need his sleeping pills because someone's going to sleep." And I'm like, well, you know what? Someone went to sleep, that's for sure. And it actually ended up being Justin DeMoney. But man, he was out of it, and it was a great night overall. Exciting fights. I mean, the place went nuts. I mean, there was a lot of people in the audience there. It did not disappoint, and I tell you what, it really put St. Louis on the map for mixed martial arts, professional mixed martial arts, and getting to the next step of the UFC. There's a lot of guys in that show, I can guarantee you, that will probably end up in the UFC here coming soon.
And we've talked about that. It's like the minor leagues, the AAA, the Memphis Redbirds,
correct,
to the UFC. And Tyron Woodley, we spoke of him in the first segment. He fought on the Shamrock Fighting Championships MMA cards. And like I said, Adam Cella and Justin DeMoney, UFC guys were looking at that. They wanted to see who came out and who brought their A game. Justin DeMoney told us he was 2 fights away from getting a contract.
He was on a 3-fight win streak.
Yep.
He was on a 3-fight win streak. You need pretty much a 5-fight win streak to get in. He was on a 3-fight win streak, and Cella said, man, I'm just getting started. You know what? You're number one, and I got 4 more to go to get back to where he was. And that's the UFC, and at 170 pounds is where he belongs.
Yeah, I think so. I think he found his niche there. Also, a guy you have really liked, Ken Porter.
Kid's exciting. This is a guy that he came out. Kenny's an exciting kid from up in Hazelwood area. He fought Zach Harvey. His only professional loss was to Zach Harvey. He came out and he actually beat Zach in this fight.
So a little redemption. Little Uprising.
Little redemption here. And I got to tell you, it was an exciting fight because it was back and forth, and then now Harvey says, you know what? Hey, no matter what, I want to be able to go out and I gave him a rematch. You better give me a rematch. So I'm sure we'll see a rubber match here in 2014, let's hope, instead of 13.
Absolutely. And then finally, we've had a submission, a knockout, and then we have the decision. Josh Weston beat Bo Smith. Decision going 3 rounds there.
Bo Smith came out and was banging Josh Weston around pretty good. It was an exciting time. I mean, he was banging him around, almost knocked him out in I think it was the first or second round. I don't remember exactly. And then you've got Bo Smith that comes out. Josh puts Bo on his back, and then Josh went back to his wrestling roots and just out-wrestled him, basically, and beat him in a 3-round decision. Josh Weston's an interesting guy because there's not a lot of people here in St. Louis area that know him real well. I think he's 4-1 as a professional now. He's a guy that beat Lance Benoist of the UFC in the amateurs. he's got some good wins. I mean, he's beat the who's who of MMA when he was in the amateurs. Then he's turned professional in the last couple of years, and it was an exciting fight. But Josh went back to his roots and basically out wrestled him.
And Brian Grinnell beat Brian Schell submission in the first round.
That was a good fight. I mean, it was they came out banging a little bit. Once again, they come out, and then Schell almost drops Grinnell. Schell goes for a kick. Don't ask me why. After he's beaten him up and put them in potholes, he throws a kick. He grabs the leg, puts Schell on his back, big slam. Schell gets out of an armbar, goes back, reverses, and goes back into another armbar and finish it in the first round.
And also, I don't have it in front of me. Mike Green got his first pro fight. Is that correct?
No, actually, Mike Green
didn't happen for him?
ended up having he could not pass his physical. He could not pass his physical. Everyone was so excited about Mike Green coming out and making his pro debut. Ended up he couldn't pass his physical, and they called it a day. And he's done fighting. He's done fighting. He has a heart condition, and he's pretty much done fighting.
And this is a guy who's probably hundreds of amateur fights.
Yeah, he probably has had close to 100 or 200 amateur fights.
It seems like, yeah. So, well, that's a shame. I hate to hear that. As far as, have you talked to Adam? Was he contacted by the UFC at all after?
I don't think he hasn't been contacted yet, but he
knows what he needs to do.
He knows what he needs to do. He needs to stay at 170. I'll tell you this, he's been back in the gym. He hasn't taken a break. And he really can't take a break because
he knows what he needs to do.
He needs to focus on getting his weight down and keeping his weight down, because the kid used to walk at 210, now he's walking 190, and now he's to get back to where he needs to be. So it'll be interesting. There's a kid out there, I want to say, on August the 10th, there's a professional mixed martial arts show down at the Lumiere Casino. Andrew Sanchez, who's going to be making his Shamrock FC pro debut. I think he's 3-1. His only one loss was to Dustin Jacoby, who was a kid you trained at the Hit Squad, and he has nothing to hang his head about. Jacoby was in the UFC. He's the only guy that beat Sanchez. So on August the 10th, you can actually come out to the Lumiere Casino and see that in the local professional mixed martial arts here in St. Louis.
And we can. That's probably going to be on the Shamrock website.
That'll be on ShamrockFC.com.
And that's your guys' next fight.
That's a local professional mixed martial arts.
Absolutely,
if you want to come to a first-class show and a first-class event.
Lumiere Casino, it's a great venue in itself. I tell you what, that's an intimate venue as well as, it sounds like River City was. I wasn't there for that one, but Lumiere, I have been for fights there. Really first-class organization there.
First class, and I tell you, we had some big eyes in the audience that hopefully we'll be getting some national TV here really soon with Shamrock. And, one of the guys Scott Coker was there. Some other people were there. Really can't say names, but everybody was super impressed, and there was a lot of good things coming up.
Good things coming out of that.
And St. Louis. I mean, that just helps St. Louis to grow as an overall product. But I think that is keep doing what we're doing here in St. Louis, man. You got to get out and support the professionals with Shamrock FC.
Absolutely, and they will be fighting against Lumiere Casino August 10th. Shamrock Fighting Championships Pro MMA is going to be happening there. We want to hear from you. Hit Squad at 101sports.com. Send us an email. Let us know where you're watching the fights, whether it's Buffalo Wild Wings and I know Lumiere Sports Bar.
Lumiere Sports Bar, they have the fights are on next Saturday night down there for free. Hey, listen, if there's anybody else out there that sponsors, anybody that wants to promote the show, that you were watching professional mixed martial arts here in St. Louis and you're having a viewing party at a restaurant, at a bar, let us know. We'll help you. We'll help get the community together for mixed martial arts. Hey, we're here to build it. So you know what? Let us know, and we're there for you.
We're also building our Twitter following, and we are at Hit Squad 101 ESPN. Hit us up. Let us know what fights you're interested in, where you're watching the fights, anything MMA or boxing related. Let's not forget about the good old boxing guys. And Scott Coker, I have some good questions for him. We've got an interview coming up with Scott Coker. He was the former president of Strikeforce, and he has been around the MMA game. I'll be interested. I've got to ask, what does he think of Big Country? And where does he think Big Country will end up?
That's an interesting question.
That is an interest. And I think Scott Coker would be the man for the answer on that.
That's interesting you said, because I actually had lunch with him on Sunday after the show, and there was quite a buzz about Big Country.
Well, we're going to be hearing from Scott Coker coming up next on 101sports.com.